Absolute silence.
Sit. Stand. Silence in the corridors and the communal areas. Skirts no more than 2 inches from the ground when kneeling.
If I were a fly on the wall in your house, what would I see?
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. We're here at the Screenplay Festival in Shetland, where our very special guest was Carol Morley, writer and director of The Falling. We showed Dreams of a Life and The Falling, did a Q&A afterwards. Firstly, just tell us a little bit about your experience of coming to the festival, the UK's most northerly film festival.
Well, I don't quite know where I am, really. It's a bit sometimes like being on the moon.
It is.
It's quite weird, but it's fantastic. And I've seen lots of Shetland ponies and lots of films. And I came to the screening of all the locals films.
Homemade in Shetland, which is always, one of the top packed evenings at the film festival. Films made here in Shetland. You like them?
Well, I love them. And also it's that spirit of what filmmaking is all about, because it's about connection and about people collaborating. It was brilliant. And there was lots of young people involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who I saw afterwards who are brilliant. No, I love that. That was one of my favourite things about coming out.
Now, we did a screening last night of The Falling, and there was a really, really interesting Q&A afterwards. I love The Falling. I've seen it 3 times, and I said, everyone who sees that film will see a different film. And actually, every time I've seen it, it looks different to me. In terms of how you pitch The Falling to people, it's only just come out on DVD. Obviously, on DVD, it's being sold more as a horror movie. How would you describe it?
Well, I suppose you could see it as a psychological horror more than a horror, in the sense that it goes into the mind, and it's definitely not British social realism. Let's start there. But I have a problem defining films within genres, because it's. But what I love is people go, it's not a melodrama, and yet it kind of is, and it's not a horror, and yet it kind of is, and it's not this, and yet it kind of is. I think there's a supernatural underpinning to it, very deliberately, and I also think. It's a kind of teen movie.
There are subliminal flashes in the film. And as I said, I've seen the film many times, and each time I've seen different things. And I said to you, what exactly are those subliminals? And when you told me, I was really taken aback. Do most people see exactly what's in the subliminals, or do they bring their own reading to it?
Some people have actually told me what they've seen, and they're not there.
Yeah.
They're actually not there. So that's what's great about the frame, a single frame of film, and we use 3 frames together,
right?
Because me and the editor Chris Wyatt worked out that if you use one, it truly is subliminal.
Yeah.
You might not see it. If you put 3 together, you tend to see one of the images, not always the same image. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I would watch a film myself and see entirely different subliminals, and they're flash forwards and flashbacks, and also things that you don't see anywhere within the film that were filmed for that purpose.
One of the things that you said that's particularly fascinating about the film being out on DVD, and I'm going to have to do this now, is that if you freeze frame the film and look at the subliminals, there's almost an alternative story going on through the movie.
Yeah, there's a hidden story, so it's a story that's hidden in it that informs the film.
What you're very careful to do is to not tell people what the film means.
No, because I think that the whole thing is the audience completes the film, as we know, and that's one of the joys of making a film. I mean, I was definitely aiming for an open verdict, in a sense that there could be many ways of interpreting the film, which I think is why it definitely offers up so much. So I try and sort of talk about, the kind of things I was looking for without closing it down.
I think the film is really terrific. I mean, certainly one of my favourites of the year so far. And actually, it has been very well received. Does it make any difference to you whether or not critics like your film? Or is it all down to whether the audience like it?
Well, I think that 2 things. I don't really think of audiences, I think of people. And I want a film, for me, I want my films to cause debate and discussion and be a very discursive thing, and so I don't ever go for I want people to love this. I want people to be involved in it and watch it. When it comes to critical evaluation, it's incredibly important to an independent lower budget film, because you're not going to be able to do press, to be able to do side of the buses, adverts. You're not going to do any of that.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't see the falling on the side of a bus anyway.
We were never on it. So what's actually crucial is really important is good critical analysis and evaluation of the film.
Mrs. Besant, we've a repossession order!
We knew pretty quickly that it was out of the ordinary.
You did brilliant work with Dreams of a Life, and the great thing about The Falling was it seemed like, making good on that promise. So I have to ask you, I know you can't tell me completely, What are you doing now?
Dreams of Life was about Joyce Vincent, who sadly is no longer with us. So it's about pursuing a dead woman. The Falling was about Lydia trying to get back the lost Abbey. And I think that my next film is like the third in a trilogy about a dead woman. And it's based on a major British writer's book, which I'm not allowed to announce because the film people like to make announcements at a certain time.
Yeah.
But it's set in America, the book. I've set it in Atlanta, and it's going to deal with parallel universes, female homicide cops, and astrophysics.
That sounds fantastic. When are you making it? When are you filming?
Hopefully next year. We'll never know. I mean, I'm just closing up writing my second draft, so there'll be some work after that, but hopefully next year.
Really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming to Shetland, and
you.
congratulations once again on The Falling, which is an absolute masterpiece.
Thank you very much. Can I show you my book?
Yes, show me. You've just bought this.
This is, I bought this for £2.50 in a shop, and it's North by Mavis Grind. And I thought Mavis Grind was a person.
But it turns out
it's
to be a place.
But if you're in Shetland, buy this book.